Mansell is at breaking point at Williams after a couple of misfortunate Grand Prix. Mansell admits his errors are costing him, and the only saving grace is that Senna retired too at the Spanish Grand Prix, but the Brit was visibly upset, visibly fuming with how his 1992 season was going so far. America have expressed a new interest in wanting a brand new Grand Prix to replace the Detroit race that no longer features on the calendar. With Detroit leaving the calendar for 1992 and not being replaced by anything, reports suggest another American track could be on the horizon. This could be due to the potential move of Michael Andretti to F1. However, nothing solid has been announced of that just yet. Game has expressed his interest in attempting the Indy 500. The big race in America is something he'd want to do. McLaren driver Game has said this week that he would love to attempt the Indy 500. This year isn't possible though, so I'm fully focused on the current season ahead. Ron Dennis was asked about this, and he said we know he loves the American racing, but he's a Formula 1 driver for McLaren. I don't think it's wise to be talking about racing in another championship. But that's the end of the news. Let's get straight to the weekend ahead. You join us live for the 1992 Monaco Grand Prix, and today should be a peach of a Grand Prix. Obviously a very difficult track to overtake on, somewhat of a race of attrition usually, but we'll see how things play out as we're going to take a look at the starting grid. Game took a fantastic pole position with Michael Schumacher alongside him in second place, Nigel Mansell in third with Senna in fourth place. A difficult session for the Williams in third and fourth, but Gerhard Berger takes up his fifth spot ahead of a more impressive Jean Alesi, who finally outqualifies his teammate Nannini in seventh place. Brundle down in eighth place, couldn't match his teammate ninth, and ninth is Suzuki with Andrea De Cesaris in the top 10. Hakkinen finessing his Lotus into 11th place. Once again, good work from him. Morbidelli 13th with Thierry Boutsen in 14th. Luigi Martini is in 15th. And this was how he slopped back in the grid. Comas is 17th, so a difficult day actually for the Tyrrell team, as we've missed a few there, but that doesn't matter. Modena and Herbert take out the back row. We're looking ahead at the start of this Grand Prix. All 22 cars are raring to go. We're waiting for the green lights, and it's away. And it's another difficult start as he clumped from behind. I'm not sure who that was. And we're away. We're heading down into turn one. Michael Schumacher leads. Senna from fourth up into second place. Game slipped down into third place. And that's Mansell with no rear wing. That is Mansell out of the Grand Prix already. Another absolute disaster of a Grand Prix before we've even got into turn two. Nigel Mansell is out of the Monaco Grand Prix, and we are going to take a look at how that unfolded in a moment. But it's Schumacher from Senna from Game as we head into the hairpin on lap one, is desperate to get past. He knows it wasn't a great start. He's working on it. McLaren are working on it, but today is not the one for him. But he's dropped down to third with overtaking difficult. This is on board with Nigel Mansell, who just drives into the back of Game. Could have gone round, I'd say. But other than that, all seems well. And he's got the Ferrari Jean Alesi. He's hit the wall and clumped the wall. I think that's his own doing again. That is Nigel Mansell again. We're going to look at get on board with Gerhard Berger. That is Nigel Mansell ahead of us. And did he get touched by... He didn't get touched by Alesi. I thought that would have been the case. But it looks like he's had the accident all on his own. He's turned in far too early. But let's have a look at Jean Alesi's start. And we're away. And actually he keeps his foot planted. And actually, initially, it's a great start. But yeah, we look to the... No, that's Mansell. That is all Mansell. And hopefully no one was hit by the flying rear wing. But Nigel Mansell is out of the Grand Prix. But the problem we've got is he's not pulled over to the side. He's carried on round the track, and he's therefore holding up Jean Alesi and Gerhard Berger and the rest of the field. And Alesi just dives up the inside. That's good work from Alesi. Really good work from Alesi. He's had great pace all weekend. But that's a Minardi. That's that Martin. Oh, who's that? Pierluigi Martini. Is that Martini? Or is it Morbidelli? I can't quite work that out for you at this present time. But that's a Minardi out of the Grand Prix. And is it going to be another disaster like we saw earlier? It is. And he's clipped the wall, got on the power, spun the rear, hit the wall. He's done a carbon copy of Nigel Mansell. And he's out of the Grand Prix. But we're looking at Eric No, we're not. Who are we looking at? My apologies. We're looking at Thierry Boutsen in its... Oh, that's huge. Comas. Couldn't see the number. But Comas, that's a big lump there from Eric Comas. And he does find his way, but he was dropping positions quite heavily. I wonder if he's got a problem with the car. He's got more of a problem now. He's been airborne for a few moments. But dearie me. Dearie me. That's a disaster. The Leighton House of Paul Belmondo drives into the back of him. And he's lost his rear wing. And that's Eric Comas and one half of the Ligier team out of the Grand Prix. But we're looking at the end of lap 1. Game is all over the back of Ayrton Senna, who I think we're being blocked by Michael Schumacher in front with a fantastic start to this Grand Prix. But Alesi at the back, he is flying now. He's cleared the stricken almost into the wall there from Game in his McLaren. He's lost a fair bit of time now. But can Senna find a way past Martin Brundle? Michael Schumacher, fantastic. But we're looking at Martin Brundle now, and he has got Nannini ahead of him, but they're all getting caught up still behind Nigel Mansell, who's caused nothing but chaos since the lights went out just one lap ago. But he's pulled into the pits, and it has released Nannini, it's released Martin Brundle, and hopefully they can put the hammer down. But they are a long way down in the... Oh, he's out. Brundle is out of the Grand Prix. It has been a chaotic lap and a bit. But Martin Brundle in the second Benetton is out of the Monaco Grand Prix while his teammate leads. Looking at Jean Alesi, who was absolutely flying. The fastest car on track. He seems to have found a little bit of last season's form this weekend, and he needs it. He's been struggling massively. Only sitting on 14 points at the moment. Not completely by his own doing, but he said he hasn't really come to grips with the car and hopes that... still not signed actually for 1993, but I can't see why Ferrari would drop him. But yes, as we look at Lacey, the gap is closing. But I think Schumacher is becoming a roadblock for the Williams and McLaren driver and soon to be Ferrari driver as we head in to the final stages of this lap. And again, he's got a fantastic run, but there's no way through as Senna defends the inside line heading into turn 1. But the top 3 is separated by less than a second, 0.8 to be precise, as we head up the hill. There isn't really, maybe an exit out of the tunnel. Potentially into the chicane, but Senna is a wise head. He's not going to allow a move to come out of nowhere. He's going to have to push his game. And a little lock up there from Senna as he desperately looks for a way past Michael Schumacher, who's leading this Grand Prix. But we're taking a look at Gerhard Berger, who's putting the hammer down. He is also catching what is now front 4. And you can see Nannini in the background as well. We're not sure what sort of pace he possesses, but Gerhard Berger looking incredibly strong in the opening stages of this Grand Prix. I wonder what would have happened if Nigel Mansell had actually just got out of the way. Maybe reprimanded for that, but we'll see. We'll see after this Grand Prix. But we're looking at the world champion now, who still hasn't found a way past Ayrton Senna or Michael Schumacher. And Alesi is on the scene now, and he has been flying to catch these group of 3. 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 positions. That is exactly what we want to see in this sport. But can he find a way past? I wonder how many laps he'll go, considering, we're expecting pit stops. So could we see a difference in strategy that changes this Grand Prix massively? But the top 4 remain exactly the same, with Michael Schumacher leading the Grand Prix, and that Berger is catching ahead at the background there. So if he can join the party, we'll give 2 McLarens on the scene at the very least. But that's Suzuki having an engine failure. That's poor. And he was actually up in about 7th place. So a good haul of points was potentially on his way, but the engine has given up all hope. But he's probably going to have to peel over to the side. And he stopped on track. That's in an awful position as well. And that's Hakkinen coming round the corner, and he's ploughed into the back of him. There's a Tyrrell trying to find his way past. The other Tyrrell, a Minardi barging his way through as well. That's a very unfortunate incident there. Not really much. Well, I suppose you could argue that Suzuki probably should have maybe peeled over to the side of the track a lot earlier than he did. But this is on board with bigger Hakkinen as he sweeps through. And he kind of just gets on the accelerator a little bit. I'm not entirely sure, unless he thought he could spin round and pass the stricken Arrow's footwork car, but yeah, it does leave him with no front wing. However, he's still in the Grand Prix, and with everything happening today, there's a strong chance he'll finish in the points. But we're looking at Nannini now. Nannini all on his own, but he's having a quiet Grand Prix down in P6. But he's had a fantastic season this year. Ferrari are over the moon with how well he's doing. Ahead of Jean Alesi in the standings. However, Ferrari said that's not really something they're looking at, considering neither will be fighting for the championship this season. But Nannini's showing great pace all season and having a comfortable Grand Prix. But we're looking at the two Tyrrells here. Andrea de Cesaris, to be specific. He is down in 8th place, looking for some fantastic points actually. Tyrrell scored really well this season, but we're looking at the front, and Berger has caught the back of Jean Alesi. So it's Schumacher, Senna, Game, Alesi and Gerhard, Berger. And that is your top 5 separated by about... Oh, de Cesaris is out. We were just talking so highly of Andrea de Cesaris, and he finds himself with 0 rear wing and out of the Monaco Grand Prix as the Minardi barges his way past. And he was doing so well in 8th place for 4 points. Tyrrell's, like I said, Tyrrell's scoring. And we're now looking at the front pack now, still leading by Michael Schumacher, Senna, Game, Alesi and Berger. But I believe someone's going to have to pull the pin and drop into the pits, because I believe the pit stop phase will be vital to how this race plays out. We come around to complete another lap. Still Schumacher leads. Senna all over the back of the Benetton. But it's just nowhere. And Game dives into the pits. Game dives into the pits. He's trying something different. He should slot back out, I'd say a couple of seconds behind Nannini. But he should fall into the gap into 6th place, I'm going to say. Should be. But he's got a bit of free track to himself. And he's 4.5 seconds away from Alessandro Nannini as we head towards the chicane. He gets on the brakes, but he's going to dive over the chicane. Ooh, and there's a front wing there. That's very common here at Monaco, to have litter scattered across the track. And I'm not entirely sure who it is. We've not had an announcement from anyone that's retired or lost any wingage. But we shall see. But we come up into the final Rascasse sequence of corners, and we're going to come around to complete another lap. It's Schumacher that still leads, but Game is matched their pace immediately out of the pits. So are they going to come into the pits? I mean, it would be silly not to. You have to cover him off now, surely. Berger's round, and I believe he did lose a rear wing. We're going to have he's out of the Grand Prix as Nannini ploughs into the loose wings that are scattered across the track. But it's Gerhard Berger out of the Grand Prix. But what happens, we ride on board with him, looking at the back of Jean Alesi's car as he heads into the chicane. He's lumped over the curve, and he's just got it all wrong. He lost his front wing initially, but I believe the second impact has taken his rear wing out. And that's Nannini going over the now useless rear wing of Gerhard Berger. And that is another car victim to the Monaco Grand Prix. But Game is flying. They've still not come in. The Benetton of Michael Schumacher and the Williams of Ayrton Senna have stayed out. Nannini's out. Oh, it's chaos. No one seems to be able to complete a lap without touching the wall. But Alessandro Nannini is out of the Grand Prix. And that is diabolical. That is diabolical. And we're looking at a lapped car because Alesi is 10 seconds up the road. This is the speed difference between fresh tyres, clean air, and none of them have come in. It is baffling to me. And Alesi has lost 2 seconds on this lap. What's the gap from Michael Schumacher to Game in 4th place? It's under 10 seconds. If they were to pit now, Game would have like a 10-second advantage. And not a massive amount of tyre wear. Unless they're expecting his tyres to go off, pushing at this speed. I don't know what they're trying. They've got to try something different now, I guess. And so, Alesi's out. Alesi is out of the Grand Prix. Engine failure again. Oh, Jean Alesi, he just cannot catch a break this season. Had fantastic pace. And the puff of smoke was from the tyres, not the engine, do not worry. But Jean Alesi out of the Grand Prix. Let's have a look what happened. So he's all over the... And it just went on him. Everything's seized. And he stopped on track. But let's have a look from the back. Then looking at his rear wing, we're going to see a huge puff of smoke bellow out the back of his Ferrari. And... oh, you cannot catch a break, Jean Alesi. And Game narrowly missing them, actually. Yeah. Anyway, we've got Olivier Groulard, who is driving his Tyrrell fantastically this afternoon. And he finds himself, with all the retirements, up into 4th place. Now that Alesi is gone, he's up into 4th place. Just driving his own Grand Prix. He's got the Minardi behind him. But we have got both Jordans in the points as well, up in 8th and 9th. Absolutely fantastic for them, from Modena and Bertrand Gachot. And they have been very, very, very disappointed this season, Jordan. They haven't pushed on from their impressive debut year last year. But they said they've got some big news ahead, and hopefully that will propel them properly back into the midfield for 1993. But my apologies. Schumacher still leads. They're catching lap traffic now. Schumacher leads with Senna behind him with absolutely zero way past. And I am absolutely astonished that they have not come into the pits to cover up. They've thrown the win away. I don't know what Benetton are doing. Schumacher, if he'd have just pitted the lap after. But I wonder if it's... I wonder if Senna must think, Williams must think that if Schumacher was to come in, Senna has the pace. The Williams will have the pace in Clear even on old tyres. We are absolutely certain that the Williams would come in, would stay out if Schumacher pitted, and would absolutely fly. But I can't understand why they've kept the Benetton in. It must be they're protecting something, but no one's quite sure what that is. But as we head down into the chicane now, and he's clipped the wall there. Not great from the race leader. He's still yet to win a Grand Prix in his second year in the sport. That's got that all wrong. He's hit the boys out. Schumacher lost his rear wing and he is out of the Monaco Grand Prix. Oh, he's got himself all wrong-footed behind the lap car, who has also lost his rear wing, actually. Oh, Schumacher. I think they've thrown the win away anyway, but a podium is absolutely on the cards. And he's going to come into the pits and is to retire his car. But Senna is now free. Senna is free to push. What is his pace going to be like? He's got that active ride that McLaren are working on. Ferrari are also working on, but that's Game in the background. He's going to have to be mighty quick on old tyres. Unless he's been preserving them behind Schumacher, we know he's had more pace. And he has been absolutely fried. He's pulled 4 seconds extra on the world champion Game, but that's not going to be enough to hold the race lead as Senna dives into the pits now. And I wonder if he thinks if he couldn't overtake Schumacher on track, he's not going to be able to overtake Game on track. I'm not sure what Williams and Benetton were thinking today, but that hands the race lead to the world champion and is on course for 3 Monaco victories in a row. Bizarrely, for 3 different teams. There's still a few laps to go here, but all is looking well for McLaren and Games. Joint first win. Well, I say joint first. Wimberger won last time out, but is Game about to win the Monaco Grand Prix? And he's been fantastic. He put a different strategy on. Knew he wasn't going to be able to pass on track due to the complications that Monaco has to offer in terms of overtaking, but he's coming to the final sequence of corners, rounds the second to last, approaches the final corner, and dances to the line to make it 3 in a row at Monaco and wins his first Grand Prix for McLaren. Absolutely fantastic. Senna will come home in second place, and that is a fantastic drive and a fantastic Grand Prix. And that is the final classification. Just 7 finishers at Monaco, which is actually substantially more than last season. But Game takes the win with Senna in second, but Olivier Groulard taking a Tyrrell onto the podium just ahead of Martini, who was catching him towards the end. But Bertrand Gachot and Stefano Modena take points. Hakkinen, despite his difficulties early on in the Grand Prix with losing his front wing, has picked up 7th place. But the big one is Nigel Mansell retiring from yet another Grand Prix, and that's surely his championship done and dusted, with Berger retiring as well, Alesi out, Schumacher out from the lead, remember, Comas, and a lot of retirements on lap 1, a massive disaster. But let's have a quick look at the championship standings, and I forgot to edit that bit out. But we're going to look at the championship standings ahead, just after this Monaco Grand Prix. And it's Ayrton Senna who leads now by 26 points. So still a win, but Game has jumped up into second place, Nannini in third. Not a whole lot of point scorers today. Mansell slipping further. He's in 7th place in this championship. The teams Williams are being caught by McLaren, who have finally found pace. But it's only one Williams scoring. But Tyrrell in 5th place on 43 points is absolutely fantastic. But if you have enjoyed the Monaco Grand Prix today, please subscribe and join us next time for the French Grand Prix. Bye bye.